Hello, everybody. I'm just trying to get this going. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. I'm wondering if my camera is like not straight. Is that straight? Okay, my camera is not straight, so let me just fix it. Okay. Is that straight? I think that's straight. Hi, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live. Thank you for sending love to Stitch. Allie, thank you so much. Stitch is getting bigger and bigger every day. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Sunday live. I missed you guys. I didn't go on last week, I believe. I was just not in the crafty mood at all. And for some reason, this past week, I got so many questions about stamping. So I thought I would do a stamping live. So this could go really, really badly or be really good. So we're just gonna go with it because I enjoy stamping, but at the same time, it took a lot of practice to get stamping right. And now I just don't think about it. So I get so many questions about how do you stamp on photos? What kind of paper do you use? And honestly, at this point, I didn't even look at the technique or anything like that or the type of paper I get. But I'm going to share all that with you guys today. And if you have any kind of questions, this is the time to ask them. And hopefully when people ask me questions later on, I can always let them know that I have a live talking about stamps. And I actually do have a video about stamping too on my channel, maybe under tutorials. Hello everyone, I'm just kind of waiting a little bit just so everybody can come on in and join us. And I thought, because I'm a huge lover of black ink, that I'm gonna start with my black ink and what I like and what I don't like. And this doesn't mean that what I like, it doesn't mean that's the right way. It's just what I enjoy doing or using. And hopefully it's helpful for you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. I grabbed, I think, all of my black ink, if I'm not mistaken. This does not mean that I use every single one. I do have favorites, and I'm gonna share with you why I like them and why I do not. So my all-time favorite is the scrapbook.com premium dye ink. I love this ink because it stamps so crisp. Like wherever I stamp, it's just perfect, and it's a dark black, and I like that very, very much. I don't like flimsy black, if that makes sense. So I always use my scrapbook.com ink. But my scrapbook.com ink does not work on photos. So I tend to use the Archival ink from Ranger, and I use this on photos. It takes a tiny bit longer to dry, but it does the job. And usually when I stamp on photo paper with my Archival ink, I wait a little bit for it to dry. So I never, if I'm stamping on a photo that's going in a pocket, I never put it in my pocket right away. I just leave it out. Whenever I remember, an hour later, a day later, whatever the case is, I'll slide it back into my pocket and I'm good to go. So I never rush it, kind of thing. And if I stamp it on a photo in my traveler's notebook, I also wait. I don't close my traveler's notebook, and I just give it some time to dry. This is the Black Midnight from Catherine Polar, I think. Yeah. And it's not my favorite, and I'm going to talk about why it's not. This one is from Spellbinder's Fun Stamper Journey. I really like this ink, but I don't use it as much because it's so juicy, and it, I don't know, when I'm stamping with black ink, I don't like it to be extremely juicy because it gets into your stamps and things like that. We'll talk about that. The Archival Black, this is from close to my heart, and it is a new favorite. I am loving this black ink because I can get a great image, crisp, and I can stamp it on photo paper. So instead of, you know, using the scrapbook.com and then using the Archival ink for my photo paper, I just use this ink for everything, which is so awesome. And you guys, I can't tell you how much I love that this like pad is magnetic. So that is just so cool to me. So they literally just stick together. So you can kind of layer them on your shelf and not worry about them falling over and things like that, which I really love. But I'm really enjoying this ink as well. And look how large it is. It's just huge, which is perfect if you are stamping a large stamp. Next up is the Stamp Market black ink. This gives you a wonderful image, wonderful, very crisp. But again, it's not my favorite because of the foam pad or the softness of the pad. I am not a big fan of soft like ink pads. I feel like it gets all over the place. It makes a huge mess. I'm not a fan of that. And that's why I love the Archival, because it's like tough and I can, you know, kind of just do my thing and not worry about it getting everywhere. The scrapbook.com is also tough. This one is too, the Archival. Color Theory, next up, is another favorite. I love this ink pad just because, okay, so the black is not so black, which is okay with me because I love this to do like second generation stamping. Hello everybody and welcome. I'm just talking about my black inks, favorites, not so favorite, but I just grabbed the ink pads I thought were, you know, that I have. But I love this because I love the second generation stamping with this black ink, and it does not ghost, which is amazing. I love it for my planner, my daily journal. I do a lot of stamping with this on all kinds of projects. So that's another favorite. And like the, what is it called? Like, what do they call that? Like the foam pad or whatever? It's not soft, or it's tough. It's hard, I think. That's what the word. Anyway, next up is the Hybrid ink from scrapbook.com. These are two different ink pads. This one, I believe, does not react with water, I think. Yeah, it doesn't react with water. So once you stamp it, you're good to go. But this one does. So that's why I tend to use the premium dye ink instead of the hybrid black ink. But I do use this one plenty as well, but on different projects, and I'll talk about that as well. So I wanted to show you how these black inks stamp, why I do not like some of them and why I do. But, you know, again, what works for me might not work for you, and that's okay. A lot of people love certain ink pads that I might not like. Again, that's okay. That's just a preference, and that's what I enjoy. So what I'm going to use to stamp on is some paper here that I have discovered from Sarah. If anybody knows Sarah's Instagram handle, I forgot her Instagram handle, but she's on the Studio Calico creative team as well, and she's amazing. And she shared this paper, and it's dotted, to create her traveler's notebooks. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love some of that paper. So I ordered it from Amazon. I think it's probably linked to my Amazon link, by the way. And I will share with you the box and everything. But she uses it to create her traveler's notebooks, like to make her own inserts. And I bought it to do the same, but I love the paper so much for stamping that I started stamping on it. And it's always trimmed down, and I have it on the side of my desk. So whenever I need just white cardstock or white paper, I grab it. It's not thick, it's not too thin. That's what I love, because I stamp a lot on my traveler's notebooks or in my traveler's notebooks. I create my own little embellishments with my stamps. So I don't like my paper to be too thick. So I usually don't use cardstock. And it's dotted, so it's perfect if you're stamping like words and things like that. You're stamping, yes, Sarah Zayas. Thank you, Elizabeth. It's just perfect for that, and I love using that. Let me actually grab the paper real quick. Okay. I'm gonna share the paper while we're at it. So this is the cardstock that if I wanted cardstock, I would use, but I rarely use it. This one's actually still closed. I just ordered this a few weeks ago. But this is the cardstock I use. I get it from scrapbook.com, and I also get it from Amazon. So you have two options. And I love this paper because it's thick enough, and it's bright white, and that's what I love. So we have this one. This is the sticker paper I use. Like I said earlier, I love stamping on, like, making my own embellishments, and especially on sticker paper. You can create your own stickers with sticker paper. All I do is literally stamp on the paper, like trim it out, and use it on a project or anything like that. So you can just kind of make your own. I believe I have this linked in my Amazon link down in the description box, but I think they changed the packaging for this. So it doesn't have like the staples, I think, or it does, but it's not green. I think so. But I have it linked for you guys. And I love this sticker paper. It's like a big sheet. And honestly, I've bought this like maybe over a year ago, and I still have a lot in there. So you really don't need a lot, but it's bright white. Again, I love bright white. This guy is like all torn up and stuff, but I always try to keep the packaging just so I can share it with people, because I get asked a lot. I use the Navigator as well, Platinum, and this one is 32 pounds. This is wonderful paper for stamping. I love it so much. It's not too thick, bright white, and it's a great, it's great paper to stamp on and add to your project or whatever the case is. Love this. And it's a little bit pricey, but I've had it for years. Honestly, it comes like 250 sheets, and you can see I still have plenty in there. And this is great paper as well to create your own traveler's notebook inserts. So that's that. And this is the paper that Sarah suggested, and she was using it to create her own inserts. Now this paper is already, like you can see here, has the holes. What is it called? Like disc bound or something? But I don't need like the holes on the side, so I usually trim this off. And I know Sarah trims off right at the edge, and you'll have the right size for a traveler's notebook, and she creates her inserts with it. But like I said, I've been using it to stamp on. I don't know if you can see, let's see if I can get close enough. It is dotted. I don't know if you can see that, but it's dotted, so it's perfect for stamping. And I love that it's dotted. I like that look when I stamp on it and add it into a project. Okay, so let's move on. What I wanted to do is maybe grab one of my stamps here. Let's grab this one. So I just purchased this beautiful stamp set from Altenew. I believe I got it from scrapbook.com, but it's from Altenew. And you guys know how much I love floral stamps. So when I saw this, it's like so simple, so beautiful. Of course I had to get it. So I wanted to share with you, like, let's get a good crisp image here, because like I want to show you how crisp some of these inks are, why I like them, why I don't. So let's just grab a stamp block. Stamp blocks are important as well, this one is my favorite. It comes with 4, I believe, not 3, but these are the, like from the 4, these are the sizes I always use. I always have these linked in my Amazon. I get asked so much about these like stamp blocks, especially this mini one, and it comes with the 4. So if you're interested in that. So all I'm gonna do is go ahead, let me move these down a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and stamp. We're gonna start with one of my favorites, scrapbook.com's premium die. And as I'm stamping, I'm gonna show you, like mine is kind of dry. It's not that dry, but I've had it for a while now. And it is hard. Like if I push, it's not gonna go in. Like my stamp is not gonna go deep into the foam, the stamp foam or whatever, the pad. So you can see all I do usually, I don't like to hold it up and all that stuff. I just stamp down. That's why I like the harder pads. And you just make sure that your stamp is inky. And I literally just stamp down. I don't like move back and forth and things like that. You will make a mess. Because if you move back and forth, the ink will go into the crevices of your stamp and just, you'll have an image of blah, you know? So I just like to stamp down, straight up, straight down, pull it off, and look how beautiful and crisp that black is. I just love this ink pad. I also wanted to share real quick how I clean my ink pad. I use this chamois. It is actually from, let me grab it real quick. I pulled out a few things to share with you guys. Hold on. So it's called the Absorber. I always have this linked in my Amazon. It is a great price for what you get. So you get a huge sheet, huge. This is actually like cut down. It's actually, once you wet it, it's just not like, you know, hard like that, but it's a huge sheet and I trim it down into these smaller sizes and literally use it to clean my stamps. I find this cheaper than the Lawn Fawn chamois. I was a huge fan of the Lawn Fawn chamois, but once I found this, I was like, why am I spending so much money on that? I think it's around like 16, 17 bucks for a whole roll. And basically it will last you forever. I'm not joking. So I definitely recommend the Absorber, and I usually get the blue one just because it's the darkest and you can't really see the ink, even though you can, but it's not as bad as like grabbing the yellow or something like that. And all I do to clean off my stamp is wipe it down with my chamois. You're gonna see the ink on your chamois. I clean my chamois every once in a while with some soap, and it will clean out your chamois really, really well. You don't have to throw this away. I literally throw them away when I'm just over how dirty it is or how dirty it looks. But it really isn't dirty once you wash it with soap or dish detergent or something like that. But I literally just wipe it down. I would not use baby wipes just because, Mariska, because it leaves like lint on your stamp, and when you come to stamp it again, that lint will kind of get in the way, and it's really honestly wasting, you know, it's just not good for the, in the world. It's like recycling and everything. This, you can use it over and over. You save money, you save the world, and it's just, you know, all you have to do is wet it down. And to keep it moist for the day, like while I'm working, I use this little box here, I think from Lawn Fawn, if I'm not mistaken, and I just add it in here. The good thing about this, it has holes, so it's still breathable and you don't have like a smelly chamois, but it'll keep it, you know, dry, wet for a while. But if you don't want it to be wet or smell, you just flip it over and it will dry it out, and it won't get on your desk and ruin your desk. But this is what I use, and you can see this is so dirty because what I do is I basically open this, flip it over, add my chamois right on top when I'm working, and that way it's sitting like on the side of my desk, and I just go like this to clean off my stamp. That's all I do to clean off my stamp, basically. So that is the scrapbook.com. Archival. Now my Archival is pretty dry. I have not used it in a while just because I've discovered this guy here and haven't been using my Archival, but the Archival is also hard. Like the pad is really hard, so your stamp is not gonna go all the way in. So I love that. It doesn't get all over the place. It doesn't get all over your like stamp, your block. So I love that. And we're gonna stamp it right here. And look at that. So because it's dry, it's not gonna fill perfectly, but when you have like a newer one, few months old or whatever, you're gonna fill that out. But I still am loving the scrapbook.com. Actually, I'm gonna put this right here so you guys can see how I wipe this down. Wipe it down. And then we're gonna do Catherine. And so this is one of the stamp ink pads that I'm not a huge fan of. Now, as you can see, the ink is all over my lids because this is so juicy and the foam pad is so soft. And I'm gonna show you right now, like, as you can see, if I push down, look how much ink I got on there. That's just too juicy for me. If you push really hard, it gets on your block and it just, I don't know, it gets all over the place. And look here real quick. Like if you look through, you can't even tell where the lines are because it filled my lines. Now let's see if this stamps properly. I have not used this in a long time. Yeah, you see, it just gets all blotchy. It goes into the lines. I'm not a fan. I know a lot of card makers use this ink and they love it, but this ink is just way too soft for me and it just makes your stamp all gooey and stuff. I'm just not a big fan of it. And then I have to go in and make sure that I cleaned it properly with my chamois. I don't like the extra work, if that makes sense. Is there a question? Let's see. Check, yes, my Amazon link. So my Amazon link, if you, I always have it linked to my videos. Hi Beth, welcome. I always have it linked in all my videos and it's under my favorite things, my favorite crafty things, Amazon. So you can find it there. And if it's not, I promise to link everything later on once this goes live. Okay, so that's the situation with the Catherine ink. Again, like you can see, I don't know if you guys can see that far out, but it filled up those lines. I don't like that. I don't think I've ever used the Memento ink before, and I've heard good things about it, but I'm the type of crafter that if I like something, I just stick to that thing until I find the next great thing, if that makes sense. But I'm gonna move on. I should try it. I've been told before that it's good ink, so it might go into my list of things I need to get. So we're moving on to Close to My Heart, Black Archival. Again, you guys, this is another favorite. I just want to make sure that this is clean because honestly, that ink got everywhere. Okay, so what I love about this, let me pull this off real quick. It's hard pad, a favorite of mine. Love the hard pads. You tap, you're not getting way into the stamp. And by the way, it did not fill those lines, but that Catherine ink did, so it kind of stained it. But I'm gonna stamp it. And look how black and beautiful that is. Look at that, it's so pretty. So right now, these two ink pads, the scrapbook.com and the Close to My Heart, are looking gorgeous. And it's just so dark. I love that. I love a crisp black ink. And this has become, again, a favorite of mine. So I'm gonna go ahead, clean this off. You don't have to work hard to clean it off, which I love. And then we're moving on to the Fun Stamper journey. This is from Spellbinders. It's two separate companies, but they work together now, I think, or they combined. So this is a good stamp. This is a firm pad and it's beautiful. So we're gonna start. And that's a really good black ink as well. That's my fault. I did not add enough ink, but it's a great black ink. And you can kind of make up your mind which black ink you're loving, but this is a great ink. And I think this one, I think the Fun Stamper is probably, I'm trying to see if it's a pigment ink or not. Well, it says it looks like pigment, but dries like dye. So what is it? Oh, it's like a combination of pigment and dye. That's what it is. So that's a good black ink. I don't know why I don't use that one as much. So this is the Stamp Market. I love the Stamp Market's ink pads, and I bought a bunch of colors because her colors are gorgeous. What I don't like about the black ink, and I don't know why it's just her black ink, it is premium dye, so it's kind of like the scrapbook.com, and it's waterproof, but it's so juicy, and it's like the pad is so soft. My stamp is going, I don't know if you can see that, but it goes right into my pad here, and I don't like that. And it filled up my lines, so let's see if it actually, and by the way, when I first got it, it got all over my like blocks, so that wasn't a happy moment for me. I hate that. But it stamps pretty well. It's lovely, but I hate that it gets everywhere. I hate that I have to tap. I'm not a tapper. I'm a pusher with my ink pads. So that's a situation that I don't like, and it gets everywhere. I don't like that. But it is beautiful ink. Yes, Teresa, close to my heart, ink pads are gorgeous. I've been obsessed lately with them. And I will, I do have a link down in the description box for you guys. You do need a consultant, and Beth is amazing. She's very helpful. If you have any questions about those ink pads, you can leave them here in the chat or ask Beth. Beth will answer. She's really, really, like, she knows more than I do, in other words. Yes, I will show the back of the paper once I'm done. I should have wrote down what the ink pads were. Now I don't think I can remember. Okay, so we're moving on to color theory. This is something I love about color theory ink. The second generation stamping. So their foam is hard as well. So your stamp is not going in too deep, and the ink isn't going everywhere. And it has a really beautiful subtle black. Like you can see that it's almost kind of like a gray. And I have to say, it is darker than that, but my ink pad is drying out, and I've had it in my cart forever. I just need to purchase it. But it is a little bit darker. But when you do actually I'm gonna do it real quick. So let's say I stamp this, and then I do my second generation. It gives you such a perfect second generation. It is just gorgeous. And I love using it with like word stamps and like stamping the same word over and over. You still can read the word, but it's lighter shade of black, and it looks gorgeous, and I love that. That's one of the things I really, really love about Color Theory inks from Studio Calico. And these are premium dye. Most of these are dye inks, if I'm not mistaken. This is the hybrid. And let's see, I don't have space, but it's okay. We're gonna stamp it on the back, and this is a good time to show you how, like, if you can see the ghosting. So if I flip this over, so this first one was the scrapbook.com. You can barely really see it. This one was the Archival. This is Catherine. And this one really, really seeped through right here. Like, I don't know if you can see that. It seeped through a lot. That one was it the Close to My Heart? I think so. Not bad at all. And then you have this one from the Fun Stamper Journey. And then we did that one from the Stamp Market. That one actually also bled through right here. And then we did, no, that was, did I like mess up a little bit? So that one's our scrapbook.com, Archival. That one's Catherine's. That one's close to my heart. That one is the fun, yeah. And then that one, yeah. So I'm right. Okay, so, and those are Studio Calico's Color Theory. You can't even see them through the paper, which is awesome. And that's why I said earlier that I love these because of that as well. That's why I use it in my Get to Work book, because it doesn't like bleed through my paper. And the Get to Work book paper is pretty thin. So we are stamping. This is the scrapbook.com hybrid. And you just have to wait a tiny bit for it to smooth out, which is gorgeous. It's as gorgeous as the scrapbook.com premium dye ink, but the premium, like once you stamp it, you have a crisp, clear image, but the hybrid, you have to wait a little bit for it to smooth out. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm totally not a tapper. I don't have time for that. So that's why I like the harder pads for sure. So after all of this, we're gonna break this down to favorite black inks, because I wanted to start with my black inks because you guys know how much I love to stamp with black ink. So I'm gonna put this back real quick. And we are going to choose, or I'm going to share my favorites right now. These three are my favorite black inks. Scrapbook.com, love it. Love how it's has the hard pad. It's easy, like you don't really have to work hard to get that black ink, imaged ink. The Archival Black from Close to My Heart, I love that I can use it on paper and on my photos, and I will share with you how I stamp on my photos with this. It does take a tiny bit of time to dry, but that's fine with me. If you just have to be patient. I think any ink you use, you have to be patient, especially that I use glossy paper for my photos, because I use the selfie printer and you can only print with the glossy photo paper. If I use it on matte, it doesn't take as long, but it's pretty quick. Next up is the Color Theory black ink. Love this for second generation stamping. Love it because it doesn't like bleed through. And I just love that it's kind of not a strong black, especially if I don't want to use a strong black on my planner or whatever the case is. So those are my three favorites. Now stamping this, I love how that stamped out. I should be using that more often. But this one and this one, they're too soft for me. So I wasn't a huge fan. I still do use this every once in a while. But again, when I love something, I just stick to what I love. And those are the ink pads that I'm enjoying right now. Oh, I saw Concord and Nine's ink pads. Oh my gosh, they look gorgeous. But I have so many ink pads, I just don't need more. But you guys have to let me know if you're enjoying them or not. I know Tashi is really enjoying hers, and she shared stamping with them. They look gorgeous. Hello from Poland. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining in. So these are some of my favorite black inks. I'm going to move this stuff aside because we're going to talk about gray inks. I asked on Instagram, we're going to leave these out for a bit. On Instagram, I asked, if anybody had any questions or suggestions, things like that. And one of the questions that I got was gray ink. If I don't want to stamp with black ink, what is a good gray ink? And I got some good gray inks for you, that's for sure. I'm going to start with scrapbook.com's Fog and Charcoal Gray Ink. These are so beautiful when you stamp them out. This one, the Fog, let me grab some paper again. So the Fog ink is so light. It's just perfection, you guys. I love me a nice light gray ink, especially when I'm filling out like, oh, I don't know if I can find this stamp set right now, but I'm gonna go through my stamps real quick just because I want to find this for you guys. So when you stamp out, like if you have a stamp with an outline and an inline, but you still want to stamp something, I found it, and it's backwards. Okay, so you know how I've used this before in one of my Project Life layouts, I believe. So you have the outline, you have the inline, and then you want to stamp the words inside. But you don't want such a dark ink that you can't read the words, right? So you need a light gray. So I'm going to share with you real quick. Let's do the dark gray first, actually. That way you kind of see what I'm talking about. So if I stamped the charcoal, let's say, and I'll do them as well with these because these are some of my favorite gray ones too from Close to My Heart. But this basically are my go-to grays. So that's the charcoal. It's almost like a gray, a black. Yeah, duh, it's gray. So it's almost like a black. You know, it's nice and dark. And actually, I'll go ahead and stamp with the Close to My Heart as well. So this is Close to My Heart's gray, and it's a dark gray. It's also as beautiful. Again, the pad is hard. Love that. So your ink isn't going everywhere. And that one is much darker, but these two are like beautiful, two beautiful gray inks. And now I want to fill my little oval shape here. That is oval, right? Yeah, it is. So I'm going to fill that out, and I don't want it to be too dark, right? Because again, I want to be stamping some words in there. So I'm going to go with the fog. So remember, we used the scrapbook.com charcoal for the outline. Okay, and then I want to use my fog. This, it looks like I don't have anything on my stamp, but believe me, it's so light and beautiful. I don't know if you can see that. Like, it's just so subtle. I love a subtle gray ink. It's perfect to fill out like stamps like that. And then I'm gonna fill, there it is, the other one with the linen from Close to My Heart. Let me clean this off real quick. Yeah. And this one, again, is another favorite because it's so, so subtle. It's a tiny bit darker than the fog from scrapbook.com, but it's still very subtle. Isn't that beautiful? Love that. So I always recommend to have like a dark gray and a light gray to fill out those types of stamp sets. Let's see. Yeah, Tashi made me do it, Christy. I'm sure she did. Yes, blue gray is another favorite. I love that too, Carol. You know what, Nancy? It was hard getting ready for this live because I didn't want to miss anything, and I had some really good questions. I really don't know, Mariska. I know scrapbook.com ships overseas. Beth, do you know if Close to My Heart ships overseas? But I do know scrapbook.com does. So you can order them on their website, and they do ship overseas. So now when I want to stamp like a word, and by the way, this stamp set is beautiful. I love this stamp set. And sorry if you can hear my dog barking. He's really excited right now playing with the kids. Yeah, I love these gray inks, and I love this dotted paper. I'm so grateful that Sarah shared it, because when Sarah's researching and she was asking on Instagram, I told her, once you find the perfect paper, you better let me know, because, you know, I love me a dotted white paper. So once I'm gonna, like, you can stamp right in the center, and it looks amazing, and look how beautiful that black ink is. I'm gonna use the scrapbook.com. Oh, I should have switched it over. Sorry, you guys. This one should have been here, but it's okay. It's all good. And then I'm gonna stamp the same one, but with the scrapbook.com and this one. And you can see, this one is much darker, as you can see. But again, I said it earlier, my scrapbook.com is kind of dry. I've had it for a while now. So love that, love those gray inks. And I wanted to share with you some more gray inks here. Let's see. This one, we already did that one. We did this one. Oh yeah, the Pebble is really pretty as well. Let's just go ahead and stamp it with the same stamp here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and share with you the gray inks from Close to My Heart. This one is a gray blue, so you can see it's like it has that blue tint to it. These have more of the gray tint. And then, so that one is the Pebble and the Mink. The Mink has more of like a brownish gray. So, and I love this one as well. This one's just perfect for like skin tones and stuff, if you wanted to. Is it this one? No, not that one. That's not a good skin tone. That's just like nobody has gray skin tone. But that's like a darker brownish gray. Hello, everybody. Hi, hello, welcome. We are just going over stamping. If you missed anything, I will definitely be posting this once I'm done with our live, so you can watch the beginning because I went over my black inks. Let's see. Okay, so those are the gray inks that I usually use. There is one more that I use from Studio Calico. Let me grab it real quick. And it's the Cement, and this one is like more of a brownish gray. I don't know why I took off my stamp, but this one is another favorite that I like to use to have like a subtle color on my spreads. And like I said, it has like that brownish look. So it's more of a brown, more of a cement kind of color. That's true, Catherine. I like that. Zombie skin. Okay, so those are our gray inks. So like I said, I'm enjoying these from Close to My Heart and the Fog and Charcoal from scrapbook.com. So let me put those aside. And then we can talk about other colors, other ink pad colors that I love to use in my scrapbooking. I also had like printed my questions here, so let me just check what people asked. I don't want to miss anything that anyone asked. I went over the paper, the type of paper I use. So someone said, I struggle getting crisp images. Is it my ink choice? I don't believe like it's the ink more than a lot of people do this mistake where, let me grab a stamp. You grab your stamp, you know, you want to stamp something out. I'm going to get something different here because let's play with some color. Too much gray and black. So this is the Gold Rush from Close to My Heart. And I'm going to show you a lot of people when they like add the ink, they press so hard. I'm not pressing as hard. I press pretty hard, but not so hard. It's more like a hard tapping and not pushing and pressing. Like if you do that, you don't get a nice like ink coverage on your stamps. So it's always like, you know, I move my stamp around. I know you guys notice that when I'm stamping. I like to move it so I can kind of get that coverage. I even go to the edges of my ink pad just to get everything stamped up, and I just literally stamp down, stamp up. But there's something that a lot of people, I notice them doing, is the whole like push, push, push and swirl and all that. Like you don't need that. because this is going to, like, you're going to have a good coverage once it dries out and it smooths out. You don't need to be like pushing and, you know, doing all that crazy stuff. So I always say, like, you know, keep your hands light-handed and just, you know, tap, not too tappy, like tap a little bit harder than usual, and then stamp. Oh, I didn't get enough ink in there. And that's the good thing about clear stamps. You can see where you missed ink on your stamp. Stamp down, stamp up, or pull up. And then you can get like that really pretty image there. So let me just put that away real quick. So it's really not the ink choice. I think you just have to be patient with your, let's see, dye inks take a while to smooth out, but they dry fast. Pigment ink takes a while to dry, but it gives you that clear image right away. So you just have to kind of decide what you want or what you like and don't like. I don't mind waiting for my ink to dry, and I don't mind using hybrid, what else? Dye and pigment. I use it all. Like if I like the colors, I just go for it. Yeah, I just move around my stamp when I'm trying to cover my stamp with ink. And I always like just look through it. You guys notice in my videos, I'll tap like my stamp, look at it and see if I got it all covered and then stamp it. But again, I always say this, like you don't have to perfect stamping. I think stamping shouldn't be perfect and you should, you know, go with the flow. Enjoy the process. Distress inks. I do not use distress inks, Mariska. I think with distress inks for me, I don't like that, like it's not full coverage for me. I don't enjoy that. I love the colors and I see a lot of people using them, but basically I think I have two distress inks, two. One was from a friend who sent it in like a nice Happy Meal package, and the other came in a kit. So I basically don't use it. That's COVID skin color. Yes. That's so funny. Okay, so next up, let me just check real quick my questions here. Favorite inks. I have like one color and I'm in search of new pads. At the moment, I'm really loving the Close to My Heart ink pads. And I am a huge fan of scrapbook.com's ink pads. I say this all the time. Love those ink pads. I will share some of my favorites with you guys. Love the honeycomb. It is gorgeous. So, so pretty. And actually, let me get like a different stamp here to share with you why I love these colors so much. So scrapbook.com's honeycomb. You can see like I just tap all over the place. Got some nice coverage on there. Stamp it down. Love that yellow. It's just like it's not bright and it's kind of mustardy, and I love that so much. So that's one of my favorite colors from scrapbook.com. Next one, it's not this one. Hold on, you guys. Is it this one? Yeah. Okay, so love the olive as well. Let me wipe this down. And then again, tap, 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 but like a harder tap for me. Check, stamp down, pull up. Love that green. It is just so gorgeous. Look at those two colors together. So, so pretty. Love it. So that's the olive from scrapbook.com. I also love the carnival pink. Now the pad looks so much like fluorescent. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's not fluorescent pink. It's just a really, really pretty pink, I guess. There we go. Love that pink, you guys. All the heart eyes. So pretty. I don't know if you can see. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit. But look how pretty that pink is. Those colors are just gorgeous. That's why I love scrapbook.com inks. Let's see. I think they do, Karen. I think on their website they have a chart of their colors. Because I remember, let me see if I can find it real quick. Um, I had, is that one scrapbook.com? Let me check. Yep, they do. I can remember doing that with my scrapbook.com inks. So I got this chart from their website. I don't remember where you can find it on their website, but I got it from their website. And I just did like little swatches of all the colors I have. At the time, I think I didn't have the lantern yellow, but I did purchase that afterwards. And they're just so beautiful, as you can see. So you can check out their website for sure, Karen. Watercoloring with pigment for sure, not dye. Dye, you can't use it with water. Hello, hello. Hi, Carmen. You're fine. I will, do a replay on my live. So if you missed anything, you can watch it later. Yeah, the bright yellow, like if it's too bright, you're right. It becomes just like a part of the paper kind of thing. Oh, why did I put this back? So, because I wanted to share with you guys more. Oh, I love, love, love their sugar cookie. Love this one so much. This is a great ink for skin tones. And they have like, I think actually the sugar cookie and the driftwood is a great one too for skin tones. And let me grab this one. The camel as well for my skin tones, like my kids, myself. These work so well for us. And I'm going to share with you. This one is the sugar cookie, I think. It's so pretty. Love it. And even with that leaf, it's just gorgeous. And then I usually use this one. I think it's this one that I use for my son. It's a tiny bit darker. That one is as gorgeous. I just love their browns. Their browns, so these are the tan. So what I like about scrapbook.com as well, I did want to mention this, that they have them numbered. So they come in like fours, okay? So 4 of the tan. So you have tan 1, tan 2, 3, and 4. And each one is named differently. But as you can see here, you have 4 of the driftwood and then the 4 of the tan. Oh, I only have 3 of the tan, sorry. So, and then you have like 4 of the rose, 4 of the pink, etc., etc. And they have them all numbered. So when you are stamping a layered flower, these ink pads take all the what do I use for my next step to create my layered flower out of the whole situation. So basically, you don't even have to think that out. They're all numbered for your layering, and I love that so, so much. So those are some favorites of mine. And I just love scrapbook.com's ink pads. Like I said, I'm starting to really enjoy the close to my heart ink pads as well. And I use a lot of Studio Calico as well. Love their ink pads, 2nd generation. And if I flip this over, you can see like it's not that bad. Like there is ghosting, but there's no bleed through. And I use a lot of my scrapbook.com in my like planner, daily journal, all my stamping and my projects. I use my scrapbook.com. I use Studio Calico a lot. And lately been using the Close to My Heart. Okay, let's see. I have not used the Versify ink. I think, like I said earlier, like once I enjoy an ink pad, I just stick to it. And most of these inks, like my new discoveries, are because like a company probably sent me a couple, or somebody told me, like, I'm going to send you this ink pad because it's gorgeous, you know? But usually that's how I discover my ink pads. But because once I love my ink pad, I don't purchase any. Let's see. Oh, I love that. Oh, you pay $20 in shipping, like overseas, right? Because like basically if you were in the US, you would not be paying $20. I wouldn't pay $20 for shipping. But I understand overseas. I lived overseas for a while, and yeah, it's a hefty amount to get anything shipped. So let me move these out of the way real quick. I think this one goes here. Yeah. So any questions, anything you guys want me to go over? I'm going to go through these questions that I already have. Someone suggested to mention how to clean your stamp blocks. And I use nail polish remover, and it works like a dream. I love it. I'll do it every once in a while because my stamp blocks can get pretty yucky, and I just put it on some cotton and wipe it off, and it works great. And I'm happy she mentioned that because I do get asked that a lot too. Stamping on photos. Let's do some stamping on photos. Somebody asked, how do I stamp on photos? Oh, Studio Calico has some free shipping on stamps, you guys. Thank you for mentioning that. But I think they always have free shipping on their like normal sized stamps. Am I right? Yeah, nail polish remover will clean that ink off. Oh my gosh, yeah, the Ton Stamps has great ink pads. That's true, Christy. I have some Ton Stamps ink pads. They're amazing. Yeah, I have those. I forgot to mention that I have the Ton Stamp. And the Ton Stamp has gorgeous stamps, by the way. If you're not familiar, you should check her, like the Ton Stamps shop. Yeah, that's true. So stamping, their stamps are usually free. So I'm trying to look and see if I can stamp. Okay, I got this picture here. I usually print out my larger pictures to, you know, for my projects. So we are just going to go ahead and stamp on these because I'm going to use them anyway. So it makes my process of putting the project together easier. So I have this photo. I've been cutting my son's hair lately. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been too. It's a mess. So I'm learning something new. I'm not gonna open my own like barber shop or anything, but it's hilarious. Every time I cut his hair, it's a new look. So I took this picture. This, I believe, was from the 4th of July, if I'm not mistaken. So what I'm gonna do is I wanted to share with you stamping with the black ink and stamping with my white Brilliance ink, because this is something I've been asked as well. What kind of ink do you use with, like, what white ink do you use on dark surfaces? 1 second, you guys. So let's start with the white. I'm gonna grab a 4th of July. Sorry, you guys, that was my son. He always wants to tell me like details of things. Okay, so I think this is my 4th of July stamp set. Yeah, I'm gonna grab this one. And maybe stamp like Happy 4th America. Yeah, let's do Happy 4th America. So I'm gonna stamp the America first, so I know where I need that to go. Oh yeah, New Zealand, that's gonna be pricey to get it shipped there. Okay, so this foam or the pad is really, really soft. So when I use my white Brilliance ink, this is the ink I use to stamp white ink on dark surfaces or on my photos. And I literally, this is the only time I only tap. I don't, like you can see, I'm literally tapping because if I push in, it will get all over the place. So this is the only ink pad that I just tap lightly, and you can see it's already covered. It covered the whole stamp. So this is something I always say when I stamp on my photos. It's about balancing your hand. You don't want your hand to shift and move because no matter what kind of photo paper you have, it's still sleek. And when you stamp on your photo, it's gonna move, you know what I mean? So, and if you move a tiny bit, it's gonna go all over the place. So I always recommend to keep a steady hand. Do not shift and move your hand to get that ink in there. That's just a no, because you're just gonna make a mess. And I always recommend that, like you stamp down and straight up. So no moving, no shifting, keep it, nice and smooth. And this is something I've also wanted to mention, that I try to use both hands when I'm stamping on my photos so I can keep my hand steady. So I'm gonna stamp this out right in the center, down. I'm not shifting, I'm not moving, I'm not putting a lot of pressure, I'm just literally just stamping down, and then I'm gonna move my stamp, and look at that. Very crisp, very pretty. I didn't have to do any kind of, it's not magical. Thank you so much, Christina. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hi, Natasha, Natalie. And there's Christina, everybody. Hello. Okay, so basically, that's how I stamp with my white Brilliance ink. I'm trying to chat and focus on what I'm saying. Hopefully I don't forget to say anything. Now I want to stamp the Happy 4th. Again, tap, tap, tap. I'm not pushing in. Again, this pad is really, really soft. I'm going to kind of stamp this to the side a little bit, maybe around here. Straight down, not moving it. I'm trying to steady my block with both hands. Move up. And I love how that looks. You just, just try your hardest not to move your hand while you're stamping, especially with the white Brilliance ink, because it does add a lot of coverage. This is not dry. It won't be dry for the next probably 10-15 minutes or so. Sometimes with my white Brilliance, I let it sit. I just leave it as is. Don't touch it. Just, wait for it to dry. Don't rush it, you guys. When you're stamping on photo paper, just don't rush the process. Oh yeah, Mary. Kids and husband come first. It's okay. I will always put my lives on replay for you guys. So that's stamping with my white Brilliance. It looks amazing. It's crisp. It's wonderful. That's something that I always have linked in my Amazon link. Anything that I always use that I truly love is always linked in my Amazon favorite link. That's so funny. You guys are so cute. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Yeah, let's just set the kids and husband aside and watch Hiba live. I've tried that before, hitting it with a heat gun, but you really can't get too close because it is photo paper and it will kind of curve in and it will look really weird. I've tried that before, but you have to kind of sit from a distance, like a good distance, maybe like that, and hit it with your heat gun. You just don't want to get too close, Okay, so that's the white Brilliance ink, and I'm going to set this aside. And we're going to do this with some black Archival. Again, I like to use the black Archival when stamping on photos. So we're going to do that. but I have to find a stamp. What am I gonna stamp on this? Oh, I can use one of my quarantine stamps. Let's grab one of those. I have plenty of those from different companies. Let's see if I can find one real quick. Okay, this one's from Scrapbook, no, Studio Calico, sorry. So this one is the Stay Safe stamp set from Studio Calico. So I can, oh, I like the quarantine life lately, because I would have never been trimming my son's hair if it wasn't for Corona. So we're gonna stamp that black ink. Okay. Yeah, that's easier, Karen. That's so funny, Mary. You're like, I wish that your links never worked. I'm sorry. I know I'm a huge enabler, but believe me, people enable me too. I get enabled all the time. Watching YouTube, Instagram, my friends, you guys, other crafters. I just got enabled yesterday. I put so much stuff in my scrapbook.com cart. Anyways, I'm gonna stamp this with black ink. This is the same, I do the same thing when I'm stamping with white or black. All my photos, I literally gonna stamp down, and I'm gonna use both hands to steady my hand. And this is all about practicing. I'm gonna pull it right up. And you got a nice clear image on your photo. Again, this is not dry. You have to wait. You have to let it dry. That's just something you have to do. And I love stamping all my photos, so I'm okay with waiting a little bit longer. When I do this on camera, like if I'm creating something for you guys and I'm sharing it on YouTube, you'll always notice if you look close enough, when I stamp on my photo, I don't get near my photo. I'll just work on the opposite side, do my thing on the opposite side, give this some time to dry out. And then if I want to embellish, I make sure I don't touch my stamping, things like that. So you just need to be patient when you stamp on your photos. Yeah, you see, it depends on the photo paper you use. Sometimes it will take longer. Sometimes I never counted honestly how quick it like dries out or if it takes long. I just leave it, you know. I do the same with my crystal drops. I just leave it aside, keep it open until I'm 100% sure it's dry. Okay, so that's stamping on photos, okay? So what else was on my list of questions here? And the sliding, somebody talked about like that they can never not slide their stamps. And the sliding situation, that's why I always recommend to use both hands to steady the hand that's holding the block. Mary, what do you mean? Is the ink okay with the photo paper, you mean? Like I always stamp all my photos and they are fine. Even over time, over the years, I've never had a problem. And anyway, archival ink lasts a very, very long time. So you shouldn't have a problem stamping on your photos. Okay, so what I think we should move on to, is there any questions about stamping? Oh, I wanted to share something real quick. So this is my little swatch book, and I have to give a shout out to Victoria Marie because my swatch book was in a 6x8 and it took up a lot of space. And then I saw Victoria Marie, she does hers in a 4x4, and I was like, oh my God, that's genius. It doesn't take up space. It can sit next to me on my desk and have all my swatches in there, which by the way, I'm so lazy with swatching things so badly. But I have a few in here that I swatched, and basically I have like scrapbook.com swatches in here. At first I used to use this one, that's why I forgot about it, but then decided to do a little swatch book for myself or album. And I think I have, yes, Studio Calico, the Stamp Market. I still have not swatched my Close to My Heart. What else? There's something else I didn't swatch yet. And the ton stamps, because I have the ton stamps on something similar like this, and I need to move them into my little album here. But I thought that was genius, and I thought I would share that with you guys. I think it's like the perfect size to have it on your desk, not take up a lot of space. Oh, that's smart, Karen. I like that idea too. Like, yeah, doing it in a TN insert. That's really smart. But I really like that. And I have loads of these 4x8 albums. So I just did that. I moved them all from my 6x8 and put them in my 4x8. So that was a great tip that she shared. Okay. I think I went over everything that I had on my list. Oh, and I wanted to mention another thing. This is something that I love doing, is creating my own embellishments. And they're not like, you know, major embellishments where they're layered or anything like that. But this is a great way to literally stamp out your flowers and just grab your scissors and trim them out and have them all ready for you when you want to create a layout. I do this all the time, and basically I always leave an edge around my like stamped image because I like that look. If you don't, you can go in closer, but it's also easier for trimming. And basically I love using my large, huge scissors because it's faster and I don't care for perfection. So once I trim these out, I always add them in my drawer here. Let me grab this real quick. Of trimmed out, stamped out flowers. And I have a drawer full of them. I just throw them in there. And when I want to create something, I have flowers already ready for me. These are all like stamped out. I love stamping my flowers in black and white. I love that look. I just throw them in my little drawer of flowers when I'm creating, pull them out and create. So I don't have to worry about stamping them, trimming them out. This is literally what I like doing, especially when I'm watching TV. So I'll have this all stamped out on a sheet of paper, take it to my TV, trim it all out, and add it into my drawer. Let's see. I'm gonna say, Mary, for my favorite inks brand, I would go with scrapbook.com. Love it. You have options. You don't have to get the whole set of 4 of the same color, but if you like lighter colors, like this is what I love about it, is like if you love pink, but you don't want all the shades, you can go for the shade that you enjoy and usually stamp with. So if you're like, you know, in between that light and dark, you can go with the number 2 from the rose, the number 2 from the orange, the number 2 from the green. That's what I love about scrapbook.com. And the quality is amazing. I've been using scrapbook.com's ink pads for years. When anybody asks me, I always recommend them. And they're always linked to my videos because I truly, truly love these ink pads. So definitely recommend them. If you're looking for something larger, a little bit more unique as in ink pads, I would go with the Close to My Heart. But these are new to me, so I always recommend new things that I discover and I'm loving, but I haven't been using them for that long. So I usually don't say these are my, you know, absolute favorite because I haven't been using them for that long. But I've been using scrapbook.com's and I'm loving them and I always recommend them. Let's see. Yes, Elise, just go back and today I'll definitely post this as a replay. Let's see. You know, I've had, Alicia, the same heat gun for years. I show you my heat gun, you're gonna laugh. Let me see if I can find my heat gun. I barely use it, by the way, but it's a Martha Stewart, you know, the white one. And I bought it years ago, and it works like a charm. How do I store my stamps? That's a really good question. We will go over that while we're at it. So let me move things around here so we can have some space. Okay. So these are my Studio Calico stamp sets. I have all my stamp sets stored in these bins from IKEA. I don't know if you can see that. And I love these white storage bins. They are perfect. You have space on each side, which I really like. And Studio Calico's stamp sets come in these little envelopes. Them, and it started with Everyday Explorer. They have these envelopes, and Studio Calico started carrying these envelopes as well. So lately, Studio Calico's stamps come in these envelopes, so I just keep them in there because I actually am liking them. They look pretty neat stored together. And I actually bought more of those envelopes to add to my older stamps. So a lot of these are older stamps that I just went ahead, because I thought if Studio Calico is just gonna stick to these envelopes, might as well have them all cohesive and looking the same. I do also have my go-to stamps in the front of my little container. So I have these dividers that I put the brand. I like to divide my stamps by brand. That's how my brain works. I can't divide them by theme or, you know, food or anything like that. I just like it by brand. I know my stamps. I use them a lot. I remember my stamps, so I don't feel like I need to have them separated by theme or whatever. I do separate the brands by alphas. So I'll separate Studio Calico's alphas from the rest of the stamp sets, just so I can find them faster, because I use a lot of alphas in my stamping. These are some of my favorite go-to stamps that I have at the moment, and I keep them right in front of my divider here, just for easy access. The Lily Alphas from Freckled Fawn, love that. The Week stamp set from Citrus Twist. And this is an old alpha stamp from Studio Calico. I don't know if you guys remember this stamp set, but I just love this stamp set. It is my go-to in my planner, my daily journal. Love it to death. Love this small alpha as well from Studio Calico. So those sit in front. And I use this like social media from Waffle Flower as well in my planner. And so I usually keep them right in the front so I can just find them really quickly. So that's how I store those. But the rest of my, like, let me grab this. If I can, actually, it's so hard to grab my stamps right now because I'm trying to, okay. So this is another example of, okay, so these back here are Everyday Explorer. I have it divided, Everyday Explorer back here. And like I said, she also uses those envelopes, those plastic envelopes. But like for my Feed Your Craft, I take them out of the packaging and then I store them in these envelopes. The Avery, is it Avery L? I think it's Avery L. I buy them from Amazon. I always have them linked in my Amazon favorites. I use my label to add like the brand, the name of the stamp, and then I trim off the flap. I hate that flap. It gets in the way. So I literally trim it off. I just go through with my trimmer, trim it off. That way I just have a thick, nice plastic envelope to slide my piece of cardstock and my stamp. And when I want to pull it out, there's no flap in my way. Let's see if there's any questions that I'm missing. I love fussy cutting, Karen. It's something I really enjoy and it calms me, so I love doing it. That's true. Okay, so all of my stamps are set in these baskets from IKEA. And I have, I'm gonna count for you guys. That's number 7. I have 9, you guys. 9 of these baskets. They are not all full. I like to keep some space. I do go through my stamps all the time to make sure that if there's a stamp set in there that I have never used, it's out. I'm lucky and I'm grateful to be working with some amazing companies that send me stamps, but I always tell like these companies, if they give me the option of choosing what I want and don't want, I love that because then I would choose the stuff I know I would use. But if they're sending me everything, I always try to give back. I always set them aside. I never keep anything I don't use or I don't enjoy or I don't like. I never buy anything that I don't like either. But like I said, I'm lucky enough to be working with some amazing companies that send me a lot of stamps. And that's great, but I'm not a hoarder and I don't feel like I have to keep all the stamps they send me just because it's free, you know? So that's why I like to include them in my giveaways and give them to you guys and share them with you guys. So yes, I do have a lot of stamps. I've purchased a lot of stamps myself because I love, supporting small businesses, other females, and I still love stamps even if they're not sent to me for free, you know what I mean? So I still do purchase some, but again, I never buy anything I do not like, and I always try to give back. And that's why I love doing my little giveaways with my boxes. Some of the stamps have been used, some are new, and I like to share them with you guys. Let me see. I have all my stamps memorized. I will remember the stamps I have, by the way. Again, because I use them. You should never have this many stamps if you're not going to use them, you know? But I basically know what I have and I can get to it pretty quick. And that's why I like to separate them by brands, because I'll even remember the brand of the stamp that I'm looking for. Thank you, Elizabeth. And I'm happy you said that because that's something I live by in my whole home. I don't hoard anything. My mom calls me like the chick that will throw anybody in anything. And it's true. If you're in my way, if you have no purpose, you're gone. So I'll throw things that I'm not using, things that I will not throw. I first give it away. I don't mean throwing. I give away. So this goes for my household, anything that's old, anything that's not used. And it's the same with my, my craft room. I like to clear out my craft room, especially that my craft room is really, really small. So small that I need that space. This is something I just remembered I wanted to do. I wanted to share with you how to do backgrounds with these gorgeous stamps. I love these stamps. And that's a great way to share some colors with you guys, because I know I get asked a lot with the colors and everything. But yeah, I like to clean out my craft room every once in a while, make sure that I'm giving things away, anything that I'm not using. Yes, thank you, Christina. I truly, one thing before I started YouTube was, by the way, I think this one's called the Dotted Spots from PJ Craft. I don't know why I don't have that labeled, but I'm going to share with you some little things here real quick. What was I saying? Yes, before I started YouTube, I would watch YouTubers and then purchase something and get so angry because it doesn't look the same, or whatever they recommended was not, great. And it would really upset me just watching these YouTubers giving me all these tips and stuff, and oh, you should buy this and you should buy that. And then it doesn't work. So it would always get on my nerves. And I promised myself, if, when I start my own channel, that I would be true. Like I'm not going to share something with you guys that I don't like. And I always say this to companies I work with, that I have to try the product out before I share it. Because if I don't like it, I'm not going to share it. So by the way, I'm using Feed Your Crafts Good Eats stamp set because I wanted to share with you how you can create like some fun backgrounds for like your traveler's notebook or create your own pattern paper. When I do a background, I like to like, okay, so let's say I'm just going to be stamping the same stamp set over and over again. And what I would do would be like to over kind of lap them so they're not like completely straight. So when I do mess up and they're not straight, it doesn't look so bad, if that makes sense. So if I was doing something like that and I wanted to stamp this and maybe add a little title or whatever, so I'll do something like this. And you can see it's not straight, but it's not a big deal because if I come in and stamp, oops, that was really bad stamping right there. Sorry, that didn't look great, but yeah. So if I filled it out, and you know why it's not coming out straight? It's because I don't have my stamp straight on my block for some reason. Okay, there we go. So I also recommend this, that when you're stamping, you know, stamp to the edge of your paper to make it look like, you know, pattern paper kind of thing. If I wasn't talking and doing this, this would look better, but you get my point, right? So I'll do something like that. You want to bring in some color. Let's do this. Use something like this, like a circle, a square, you know, just a certain type of shape that you want to add. And let's see, let's grab something. What color do I want to grab? Let's grab the peach here. So we're going to stamp the peach. Let me see, I'm missing out on the chat. Yes, if you don't like it, get it out of your craft room. It doesn't need to take space out of the things you love and want to use. Oh, that makes me happy. I love cleaning my craft room. It makes me so, so happy when I clean my craft room. Okay. So what was it? Oh yeah. So I want to show you how you can add some color to your background, like stamping like over your image just to bring some color into your background, but you just want to use one certain stamp. That's fun to kind of create your own background with something like that. I also wanted to share with you when I stamp my crazy backgrounds and I just go for it. I never plan it. I know a lot of people like grab their ruler and start, you know, stamping and counting, and I don't do that. Anything that takes too long, I don't do. When I'm creating because I want to have fun. I want to enjoy it. I don't want to sit there and do math while I'm creating. That's just not for me. So I want to show you, if I was to, or I want to create a background with multiple stampings, like multiple images, like something like this. It's all about food. I'm going to be creating, let's say, documenting a photo about food. So I want to just stamp it all. And what I'll do, let me actually grab my paper here real quick, because I don't want it to get on my desk. Okay, so what I'll do is literally start from the edge. I'll stamp off my paper. I don't know if you can see that. And then just go for it. I'll stamp it in different spots. I try not to stamp too close to each other, you know, because I have other images here that I want to use. So once I'm done with that one, I'll clean it off and grab another one. So let's grab those tacos. They're adorable. I love this stamp set. It's just so cute. And then I will stamp like the taco next to my burgers, off the edge to the opposite corner. Again, it looks something like that. and you can stamp off the edge, like the top of your photo or your paper, sorry. Again, you can always switch around your stamping, so your stamping doesn't have to all be straight. So if I wanted to, let's flip this to the side a little bit and not look like the rest of the stamping, just to kind of create your own background kind of thing. I'm sorry, I'm not reading the chat. The best part of starting fresh and new is like if you're buying new inks and stamps, don't overdo it. That's my first recommendation. Don't overdo it. Buy a few ink pads, buy a few stamps, and then build your collection slowly, because these companies come out with new stamps, new inks all the time, and then you have like a whole set of stamps. You see something new and you're like, oh, I want that too. So always start with something simple. I always recommend a beautiful alpha set to grab those. I love alphas. To grab a good like word stamp. I'll share with you real quick a few of my favorites, and a good set of ink pads, and you're good to go. And that way you can kind of build as you go. So now I'm gonna stamp my next image, like, you know, fill out those empty spots there. And it doesn't all have to kind of, you know, be full of stamping. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to fill out every single spot on your paper. You should keep some white space. I always recommend it because it's fun to add some embellishments like puffy hearts or whatever the case is, you know? Let's see, let's add one of these. And I'm gonna share with you how you can do that same technique to bring in more colors. So it's like fun to kind of create little clusters of stamping and make your own little background. I'm gonna stamp off the paper here. It's looking really cute, and this is not even a full page. I'm probably gonna use this as a card or something. Okay, so let me share this real quick because I wanted to share some of my favorite stamps for you guys. Let's use this beautiful Gold Rush. It's so gorgeous. Again, this is something I love, 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 love. This stamp set is the Pattern Play from Futurecraft. You can see how loved this stamp is. I love this stamp because I love stamps that create a pattern for you without the hassle of you trying to get that pattern done yourself. So something like this, like I would grab this really cute little swirl and kind of stamp it in a different ink color and like kind of stamp it off like that, like in between or even right on your stamping, something like that. It just adds this coolness to your spread, and it adds color, and you break down, you know, the images of food. If you're stamping loads of food, let's say. This is another fun one that I really love and used. You can see it's so dirty because I've used it so much. We'll just stick with the yellow. So something like that, I would go like that. Like add it in between my stamps. Like that. Oops. Well, it didn't work. I mean, it's not a big deal because it's like a pattern kind of thing. And then what you could do is grab a lighter shade of your yellow. So let's see, I'm gonna grab maybe the saffron. I think the saffron is a little bit lighter. I don't know, we'll try it. Anyway, this is for fun. So I have like a tinier swirl and just like add it in between. But it's a different shade of yellow. So it looks pretty cool. And I'll show you up close. So that's what it looks like. And I could always fill out those empty spots. I'm just trying to show you an example or kind of add my literal title here if I wanted to. Let's see, does that stamp have like words in there? Yeah, it does. So I can grab that Good Eats and use that. Let me put this away real quick. and stamp that. Maybe go with, let's see. Ooh, let's go with the green because I like that yellow. And then with the background, and I'll just stamp the Good Eats with my green ink as like a side title kind of thing. What do you guys think? Okay. Oh, you're very welcome, Angie. Rediscovered some old favorites. Yeah, my pattern play is so old. Obviously, I've had it for years, and I just love it so much. I use it a lot. I always recommend stamps like this, like Splatter. Carrie Bradford has a Splatter stamp set as well. Feed Your Craft. Who else has like pattern stamps? I don't know, but those are like some of my favorites. Isn't that Foodie stamp set adorable, Elizabeth? I love that stamp set. I was just like thinking of it last night, and that's why I used it, because I really wanted to use it on something. I haven't been using it yet, or I haven't used it yet because, so I want to share with you real quick because I haven't really documented food. But anyways, I'm going to trim this down, let's say, and then you have, let's just pretend that this is a traveler's notebook layout, you know? And then you have like this beautiful pattern with your stamps. Like, come on, you guys. You don't even have to buy pattern paper, basically. And you can stamp it on, you know, whatever cardstock you want. But I like white because I like to bring in my own colors and create it like to match my photo or whatever the case is. So I love things like that. I love doing that with my stamps. So I'm going to go over a few of my favorite alphas. That's what I was talking about earlier. Let me grab. Okay, so this is an alpha that I so love. I love this alpha. It's from Studio Calico. It is gorgeous. You have like 3 layers of the same alpha, and you can fill it out like with the 3 layers. It's so fun to use. I wish I pulled out some of my layouts using this alpha, but it's a favorite. I love it so much. I didn't mean to grab this, but that's a really pretty stamp set as well from Studio Calico. These are my top from Studio Calico. The Tucker inline and outline. Love these. They might be sold out. I know I have them linked down below because I always share the Tucker alphas with you guys, but they are a favorite. I love the boldness. I love me an alpha that you can have the inline and outline. I always feel like sometimes I don't want to fill the whole word, or sometimes I want to add, you know, different colors within my word. So these types of alpha stamps are perfect for that. Another good inline outline alpha is, let's see, Everyday Explorers. Let me just grab it real quick. If I can find it. Yep, there it is. This one's a great one too. If you don't like the big alphas from Studio Calico, this is a great option. It's smaller and you have the inline and outline on the same 6x8 pad or stamp. And I love this one as well. I love that it's smaller. So if I have a long word, I actually stamped out congratulations on one of my traveler's notebook spreads, like sideways. So this one worked really well. I wouldn't be able to do that with my Studio Calico one, but I always recommend those for you guys because they are favorites. I also, you know, like I said earlier, love the pattern play, the splatter type of stamping. Let me take these out. Like the splatter stampings from Feed Your Craft. Feed Your Craft actually has, this one's a newer alpha that I got from Feed Your Craft, and I love this one so much. It's become a favorite. You can see I've used the heck out of it. I love how this stamps out. I'm going to stamp it out real quick. Do we even have time? What time is it? Oh, we have time. So I want to show you because I love me a good alpha. And this one, oh, I forgot my little stamp here. That's good to know because I don't want to lose this beautiful stamp. Okay, so it stamps so cute. Let's do the green. What I love about this stamp is I don't love alpha stickers, right? Because I feel like you run out of the important letters before you even get to the rest. So I always end up with way too many alpha stickers that I need, and I hate to throw them away. But my sheet is like out of E's and A's, so I hate that. I love that this alpha is a block and it has the shading for your alpha. So the A has the, I don't know if you can see that, like it has the shadow or the shading or whatever. And I love, 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 love that. It's so cute. Let me show you how it stamps with some black ink because it's really good. So I love that. I've been trimming them out and adding them kind of like alpha stickers. Oops. So let's stamp it in black. You can see it better with the black. I love that. It's so good. And what I mean, like, you know how, whoops, I just dropped my mega stamp and thank God it didn't fall on my foot. That thing is heavy. But this is what I mean. Like, you get the alphas, like this is pretty new, so I still have A's and E's, but you run out of the A's and E's, and then you have this sheet of no A's and E's. So basically this is the same, but you have all the letters all the time. So that's why I always recommend alpha stamps over alpha stickers. Let's see. Yeah, same. I have not been buying alpha stickers. I don't buy it. The ones I have, if I get anything in that's new, it's from kits, from companies, you know, sending a kit or whatever, but I will not. I refuse. I actually gave a subscriber all my alpha stickers, my thickers. I hated those things. They were just sitting there. I think when I first started scrapbooking, I bought all the thickers in the world, like, oh my gosh, I love these. They're so pretty. And then really quickly regretted it because I wasn't using them. Again, you run out of the vowels and all that good stuff. And it was just sitting in my like craft room taking space and I was not using them. So I offered them to someone and she took them. And I was very grateful because I got them out of here because I don't use them. So if I'm not using something, it needs to go out. It needs to leave my crafty space. So I think I went over these guys. What else did I want to share with you guys? I need to label these. Is there anything else that I needed to talk about with the stamping situation? I don't think so. I think I went over everything on my list. Actually, they have really good stamp sets as well. I have a few from them, but I have not checked any of their newer stamps. But thank you for sharing that with me. I'll check it out. Title Builder. I have to write that down. I love that, Karen. Oh, that's so good. That's a really good idea. They really do need to learn from Wheel of Fortune. That's hilarious. You crack me up. Okay, so I think I went over everything I wanted to talk about with my, like, my stamping. I know I would share with you more of my favorites, but honestly, some of the stamp sets are sold out. Probably sure half of these are sold out. That's the situation with stamps because they're like releasing monthly, so they sell out so quick. And then, you know, when I share with people, when they ask me about a stamp set or something and I share it that like sold out, I feel so bad because they can't purchase them. Scrabble points, yes. I wish they would ask people, like, okay, so American Crafts like posted their creative team a few weeks ago, and then people, you know, were complaining because I was shocked that, you know, they weren't even, I'm not going to get into it. But anyway, so they reposted the new creative team. So they listened. So listen to us crafters when we tell you we need more A's and E's on our sticker sheets. Yes, exactly. I think us women are strong. I mean, most of the industry are women. So when we need something done, we need to voice it out. Obviously, you know, American Crafts listened for the first time. But I was really excited that they chose a new team, or not a new team, I think they added to the team. That was really impressive, even though it should have happened from the get-go, but it's okay. And I'm kind of happy that they have a Muslim girl on there, so I don't feel so lonely anymore. Representing. It's about time. I guess, you know, it took a while, but we're getting there. Yes. Yes, Carol. Oh my gosh, I use so much the S's and the T's and the R's, and they're never there. That's true, Elizabeth. It's when I started, you know, I started scrapbooking a long time ago, but when I started sharing my stuff and YouTube and things like that, there was not a lot of people like me, you know, there wasn't, period. And I'm always saying this, I'm so thankful for Elise from Future Craft, Kelly Perky. When they put me on their teams, I only had like 300, 400 followers. I'm so grateful for them. They looked at my projects and, you know, they wanted me to work with them. And they didn't look at skin color or who I am or where I'm from and all that good stuff. So there's always some good companies out there that are not so big, and they've been doing it for years. They have a diverse team. They have girls, all the shades. So, you know, now the bigger companies are following suit, which they should have been doing for a long time. Yes, I totally agree, Karen. I totally agree. I always feel like, you know I'm been on Futurecraft forever, but I always say this. Elise and I are really close friends at this point. I've been working with her for a very long time. So every year she renews me being on the team. I'm always telling her people are going to be so bored of me being on your team. Like, you should totally switch me out. And she refuses. But I agree that they should change it up, try new people, and it's not just all about the numbers. Again, like I said, I had 300 to 400 followers on Instagram and probably 100 on YouTube when Elise put me on her team. So, and I've grown so much. So she gave me that chance. And that's what other companies should be doing with other crafters. Yeah, and the crafting community is so diverse. I always say, like, Altenew has always had a diverse team, always. I love the products that they offer. They have from all around the world, different languages, different religions. They are amazing, and I love supporting Altenew because of that. They have girls from all around the world, different types of crafters. They've been doing that since the day they opened. So I don't know where, the rest of those companies been all this time, but they should be taking, or looking at these other ones that have diverse teams. And I always find new crafters through Altenew, by the way. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. I always tell her that. I was like, if it wasn't you, I don't think I would be like this big. Because yeah, she was the first. I've been rejected a lot from, crafting companies, a lot. But Elise gave me that, like, when I got her email, I did the happy dance when I got her email, and then I did the triple happy dance when I got my email from Kelly Perky. So, um, yes to Altenew. They have the languages, they have the religions. Love Altenew. And they're so diverse. It's crazy. You guys are so sweet. Thank you, thank you. You guys are just so sweet, I swear. But I say that a lot to Elise, that she needs to kick me off the team. Because then people are like, oh, of course Heba's on the team. But again, like, we've just become really, really close friends, and it's like a great working partnership going on. Yeah, Altenew is awesome. Actually, while we're talking about Altenew, I have like 10 minutes, so I'm going to share with you some of my favorite Altenews. They, oh, love their floral stamps. And I think I've shared their florals with you. Two of my favorites, shared them plenty, and I shared with you how I like to stamp them on white cardstock, trim them out, and add them into my projects. Love these. I also want to share something else. Let's see. See, this is what I mean about Altenew. I have these two stamp sets. One is for our Eid holidays for Muslims. You would never find this somewhere else. Like, no way. I was like so happy to see this. And you can see I've used it plenty because I document our holidays all the time. And we have 2 a year. And then I got this like love words and sentiments in Arabic. Love that. And the funny thing is, actually, when I ordered this from them, they actually sent me the Japanese version. I was like, what? I could swear I ordered, you know, Arabic words. And then they were so sweet. You know, they sent me the right stamp. And then I shared the Japanese one with a friend who is learning Japanese, and she was so happy to take it. So, another crafter from Instagram. So, love that they have that diversity. Love their floral stamps. And that stamp that I used earlier, where'd I put that? This one. Let's grab it real quick. And that is a new one to me, and I'm already like in love. It's beautiful. I love the simple circle shapes of the flowers. I can't wait to use that. Thank you so much, you guys. You're so sweet. Thank you, thank you. Yes, keeping it simple on your pages, your spreads. You don't need to add all the things, even though sometimes I'd like add all the dice on there and stuff. But it's okay to be simple and to keep things simple and to have less. It's okay. My space is really small. I try to keep, you know, the stuff that I use and not things that are going to get in the way. Thank you so much, Mary. You guys are so kind. Yeah, I love this. I love that they have that option. And I think that's the only company I've ever seen that had Arabic words. So it's fun to have that. Oh, they have Japanese. They have like different languages. I can't remember on the top of my head, but they had all kinds of different languages. Yeah, exactly. But you can find Japanese words on there. I can't, but they, and I gave that to a friend. She was the first person I thought of when, because she was always posting how she was learning Japanese and stuff like that. So I had sent that to her. Ooh, they have Italian. See what I mean? Like they have, oh, I love that. And the best thing is how I found the Eid stamp was from their creative team. They had a Muslim girl who stamped it to create a card. She knew what it was for, you know what I mean? So I saw someone like me on their team using something I would use. And that's what I love about Altenew. They do have Korean, that's true. They have a lot, and they have different religions as well. baking. Oh my gosh. Listen, I have a good baking stamp set, but I'm going to tell you, I'm 100% sure it's sold out because it's from Kelly Perky. Kelly Perky's stamps are always gone really quick. But if you want something that's in, maybe, let's see. Let me find it real quick. Is it this one? No, this is the Home Chef. Could swear it was an Everyday Explorer stamp set. But baking, one of my favorites was a Kelly Perky stamp. No, then I'm wrong. It wasn't Everyday Explorer. Then it might be, again, a Kelly Perky. I know Kelly Perky. I have a few baking stamps from her. And honestly, I would have to look through my stamps to share it with you. But if you DM me on Instagram and remind me, I'll go through them real quick and find it for you. But I'm 100% sure it's sold out. It's an older stamp. Yes, they are accurate. Like with the Arabic words, they're all correct. True, true. Teresa, they do. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of shout outs for Altanu, haven't I? Oh my gosh. But I have to say, I don't work for Altanu. I don't. But I love their stuff. And I definitely recommend them. But I think like I covered everything. We got to chat as well, which is pretty cool. I need to like learn how to do the face, like the face-to-face with the bird eye view on my lives. Maybe I'll get my kids to figure that out for me. And that way you can see my face and see what I'm creating. But it's a good thing I'm not doing it today because my face is not that great. I have my hair up, have like my, house clothes on. Yes, Kelly she actually delayed it a little bit. She was going to close up in the beginning of the year, but then she delayed it because she was, because of the quarantining and stuff like that. So yeah, but she promised to share what she's going to be doing next, and I hope it's great things. I know it's great things because she's amazing. Amazing designer, amazing person. She's just amazing. You guys are so sweet. But not today. I'm not beautiful today. It's like Sunday. We're staying home. We're chilling. And I had a great time today. I love that we did stamping. My favorite thing ever. I hope I was able to cover everything. It was a lot of fun, even though we didn't like create a project or anything, but I hope you learned something new or, gain some knowledge about stamping. I'm not a pro, but that's the stuff that works for me. Those are the tips that I always share with everybody. So I hope it was helpful to you guys and you enjoyed today's live. I will, of course, put this for replay, for you guys to watch later. And I'll try to link anything I don't have already linked down the description box. It's been great chatting with you too, Allie, with everybody. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for always joining in and taking that time out of your day to come and chill with me and create. I love this community. I've said it before. I've met some wonderful crafters. You guys are amazing. You leave me the best comments. I always say I have the best subscribers that leave me the best comments, that always interact with me, and I love that. And I love to interact with you guys. You have to just give me a day or two to comment back, but I always try to comment back and answer your questions. So but the fastest way to get me to answer a question is definitely Instagram. So you have any questions or anything, definitely follow me there and you can DM me with any of your questions. Thank you so much, Mary. That means a lot to me. You guys rewatching everything. That means, I'm sharing good things, hopefully. Oh, that's awesome, Karen. I love that. Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you. Thank you, Marie. Mary. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed today's live. I hope to be back next Sunday. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. I had a great time. I'll be back next Sunday. By the way, tomorrow I have 2 videos going up. I'm sharing a flip through of my traveler's notebooks and how I'm trimming down my traveler's notebooks to fit into my Life Crafted album from Citrus Twist. So you guys are interested in that, those are going to be popping up tomorrow morning. And I'll have Project Life Spread going up next week. I have a few videos going up, so I hope you guys watch those and let me know if you enjoyed them. I'm kind of behind with a lot of things, but I want to share as much as I can with you guys. And hopefully I'll be back next Sunday. If you want me to do something specific in my lives, let me know. This came up in my head where I had so many questions about stamping, so I decided to do that. But if you guys prefer seeing something, or you have, something in mind or any suggestions, just let me know, either in the comments down below or on Instagram. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much, Pam. You're so sweet. Thank you guys so much. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate you. Thank you for joining in. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. I hope to see you guys very soon, and hope to see you next Sunday. You guys have a wonderful evening. Bye, guys. Thank you for joining in.